Welcome to the Fathering Strong podcast, where we connect, engage, and empower fathers to be the best dads they can be for their families and communities. And now, your hosts are Bruce Stapleton and Pastor Eli Williams.
Hello and welcome to Fathering Strong Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. Hi, I'm Bruce Stapleton, father, grandfather, and owner of New Momentum Group.
Hello, Bruce. I'm Eli Williams. I'm a husband, a father, grandfather, author. I'm a pastor, and I'm president and CEO of Urban Light Ministries, which is the nonprofit engine that powers Fathering Strong. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, well, hey guys, Mother's Day is going to be up in a few days. So, I was thinking about where does this holiday come from and why do we celebrate it? As I was reading the blog this week, I thought it was pretty interesting and some of the thoughts you had. I really never looked at it that way. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today and give you some ideas on some things you can do to celebrate Mother's Day and make mom feel celebrated. So, Eli, why don't you start us off and help us understand how Mother's Day started?
Yeah, it's interesting. But first, let me say this. Most of my time is spent working with fathers, supporting them, advocating for them, training dads, just doing what I can to uplift the institution of fatherhood and to make a good impact on as many fathers as I can. But I don't want people to get that twisted. That doesn't mean that I don't hold motherhood in the highest esteem, because I do. After all, there'd be no fatherhood without motherhood. And I had a mother who just was an amazing person, and I have a wife who is an amazing person. And so Mother's Day is important to me, as it is, I'm sure, most of you listening to me here today. But motherhood rather has an interesting story in that it was actually started by a woman who was not a mother. It goes all the way back to the 1900s to a woman by the name of Anna Jarvis. She's the one that conceived of this idea of honoring mothers because, back then, as I guess even not that long ago in history, all the attention is on the accomplishments of men and fathers and what have you. At least in her perception, not enough was being done to honor her mothers. So she decided after her mother's death in 1905 that she would do something to honor the sacrifices that mothers make for their children. So in 1908, she got backing from a guy that owned a department store in Philadelphia. And together they organized this Mother's Day celebration at a Methodist church in Grafton, West Virginia, while this guy Wanamaker, who obviously was a very smart businessman, had a celebration of his own in one of his stores. And thousands of people showed up for this thing. So it was successful. But for Anna, she wanted to make sure that it wasn't just a one-time thing. And so she started lobbying for this new holiday, Mother's Day, to be on the national calendar, like other holidays. So she mounted this massive letter writing campaign, and you can read about all this in the blog, but I want to touch on some of it because it's interesting to me. I hope it is to you. She went on this campaign and she actually went broke, basically promoting Mother's Day as a national holiday. And eventually it was in 1914. President Woodrow Wilson signed a measure officially establishing the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day. So good for her, but she had a problem with it because over time, and actually it started out this way, but over time, it just became so commercialized that it was nauseating to her. And she flipped the script and she started working against Mother's Day because it had been so commercialized and turned into something that she never intended. It's a boon for florists, card companies, and others who capitalize on it. You can't blame it. It's America, and we're all about capitalism, right? I'm not mad at them, but it bothered Anna. And so she then started lobbying to get it kind of decommissioned, as it were, as a national holiday. So that's kind of the trivia, I guess, behind Mother's Day. Mother's Day is celebrated in many places in the world, but in America, it's one of the biggest holidays of the year in terms of consumer spending.
Yeah. When I was working at Five Seasons and we actually did banquets, Mother's Day was the largest event we had. We'd always get it sold out. They were always trying to take care of those. And, I didn't realize when I was looking at your blog post, it's almost $33.5 billion a year. And the average family almost spends $247 on flowers and presents. So, I could see how Anna had that issue where it became so commercialized that, she was more interested in celebrating moms, not spending on moms. And, I think as we come back from this break, we're going to come up with some good ideas to help fathers out there understand how are some ways they can do that with their kids, to their moms, and not necessarily have to spend the money, but more importantly, just really appreciate and celebrate what moms are about. So stay with us and we'll be right back after this break with some more ideas.
We dads and father figures need each other. We need a safe, non-judgmental place to share our stories, challenges, heartaches, and joys. Fathering Strong is just such a place. A new online community of connected, engaged, and empowered fathers. Learn more at www.fatheringstrong.com.
Okay, well, welcome back to Fathering Strong Podcast. Today we're talking about Mother's Day and some ideas that you can have to make it special for your children's mom and your mom as well. So, Eli, what are some suggestions that you have, that you put in the blog, and maybe some of the things you may have done to do to your wife or your mom over the years that really felt like they were being celebrated?
Yeah, well, I really don't think I did all that great of a job with Mother's Day. So I'm hoping that I'm doing better now. But when I was a kid, I don't think I did such a great job honoring my mother, and I have some regrets about that. I wish I had, because I had an amazing mother. She raised 13 kids, right? One husband, 13 kids, and in her, I don't know, after her child rearing days, she went to work. My father had an accident on the job and had a bad back and wasn't able to work. And she jumped in after raising all those kids and went to work and just lived an amazing life. Godly woman, faithful to her husband and her children and to church and all of that. So she was worthy of a lot more honor than I personally gave her. It's not that, I was such a bad kid, but I certainly could have done better. So I'm trying to do better now with my wife, and I want to encourage us men to pay particular attention to trying to make this holiday special for the mother in your life, whether we're talking about your mother or your wife or both, and other women in your life who are really setting a good example of motherhood. So one suggestion is to maybe whip up breakfast in bed. I know that, that may be cliche, but I don't know. I would kind of like breakfast in bed. So maybe your wife would, so make up make up a breakfast for her, maybe pancakes or waffles or something like that, whatever she likes, and take it to her for breakfast. And maybe with a flower, with a handwritten note to let her know how much you appreciate her, or maybe a spa day. Roll up your sleeves. Draw her a warm bath, light some candles, give her a massage. Paint her nails. I probably, my wife probably wouldn't want me painting her nails, if you know what I mean. I'm not that steady of
Mhm.
a hand, I don't think. And I wouldn't dream of giving her a facial. I don't think she would want me doing any of that. But maybe that's an idea that would work for you and your spouse. Maybe getting a professional to do it. Booking her some time at the salon. Maybe a gift card. Perhaps where she goes to get her hair done. How about getting her a gift card and presenting that to her, or a massage? Maybe she likes pedicures and manicures. My wife does. In fact, I enjoy a good mani pedi once in a while. So perhaps she would like that as a Mother's Day gift. Here's something that we all can do, and that's take over the chores, right? Give her the day off from housework. I would say probably the day before, which is a Saturday, may even be a better day to do that. Just take care of the housework for her, the cleaning, the cooking, the errands. This is particularly important if you don't usually do that sort of thing. It'll mean even more for her. Bruce, maybe you've got a few things you want to throw in here that are ideas that dads can take and run with.
Well, we always tried to do something that was she felt was special. So it's all about knowing, who your wife or your mom is and what they appreciate. And I know, spending the money on the flowers, those kinds of things was nice, but we always made a tradition, like, to buy her a little corsage and she could wear it when she goes to church on Sunday. And those were things that she appreciated. And I know I got that actually because my dad did that to my grandma and my mom growing up. So we thought that was
Nice.
a neat thing. Yeah. And I think anything that the kids can do, we always used to put together little cards that they would hand write out or put together some kind of project. And no matter how well it was done or wasn't done, they always appreciate it because it really got down to, the thought that was really what counted. And so any kind of projects you can think about that you appreciated. And, you talk about doing gardening together. I know one year we actually, cleaned up the flower beds and planted some flowers as a surprise and things like, whether that was exactly what you wanted or not was always seemed to be appreciated because, you cared and you were just trying to do some things to help her out. And I think any of those kinds of things really fit the bill. So, um,
Yeah.
I think those are some ideas. Any more that you had, Eli?
Yeah, I mean, this idea of planning a picnic, I mean, especially if it's a nice day. I don't know what the weather forecast is calling for where our viewers are. I think it's going to be a little chilly and damp this year in our neck of the woods. So maybe a picnic wouldn't be so great of an idea this year. But, maybe a movie marathon, you know, pick out a few of her favorite movies, pop up some corn, and just make it a day of watching movies. Maybe there's something on Netflix that she likes, or there's some series that she would enjoy, and make it about her, right? Not necessarily what you would watch, but what she would want to do. Any kind of activity that mom enjoys. If she loves to read, just make it about that. Or visiting museums. Maybe she doesn't normally get a chance to do that kind of thing. Plan a day out, really taking her and doing something that she truly enjoys. Doesn't have to be on Mother's Day itself. Just present her with the idea with the card or whatever you have that says, "Here's what we're going to do to celebrate Mother's Day this year," and I think that she would really appreciate the thought that went into it. This is really important. Um, I learned the hard way, right? That it's important to pay attention. That sounds silly, but early in my marriage, I just had my mind made up that I knew what my wife would like for Christmas. And so I would go shopping and I would buy her, what I thought she would like for Christmas. And I was always kind of taken aback because she never seemed all that thrilled with most of it. And it puzzled me until I realized, and in fact, she had to tell me. I overheard her and her girlfriend talking uh, that neither one of their husbands got them really what they wanted. I was missing the clues. She would be suggesting that she could really use some power tools. And I'm thinking, well, what guy buys his wife power tools for Christmas? I just couldn't wrap my head around it. So I would brush that thought off and never got her what she really wanted. I don't know how many years it took, but maybe a couple of years of disappointing her before I realized that I wasn't paying attention. She was basically telling me what she wanted, but I couldn't conceive of it in my own head that is something that my wife would want for Christmas. So don't do that, guys. Have the conversation if you need to. What is it that you like, or just pay attention, because she may be giving clues all along as to what would really make her happy. I know. I'm letting all of my skeletons out of the closet. I haven't been such a great husband over all the years, but 40 years later, I must have done a couple of things right.
Yeah. Someone told me one time it's really trying to understand what their love language is,
Yeah.
and understanding what they appreciate. And those are the things that they have. So just giving them the day off could be it. Just listening, just, having a conversation. I mean, just there are many different things. So, well, those are some good ideas. So we're going to suggest a few more after we take the break. So this is Father and Strong Podcast, and we'll be right back.
Do you know a new father who could benefit from a basic introduction to healthy fathering principles? Pops 101, a free online course consisting of 4 one-hour sessions in English or Spanish, could be perfect for him. Pops 101 lays out practical steps toward becoming the protector, order keeper, provider, and stabilizer his child needs. Learn more at urbanlight.org.
Well, welcome back to Father and Strong Podcast. I'm Bruce Stapleton with Pastor Eli, and we've been discussing how to celebrate moms. So we've got a few more suggestions before we close out this week's podcast. So, Eli, what are some other ideas we could get to really help moms feel celebrated this coming Sunday?
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good idea. Getting the kids together and doing something together with the kids. Maybe she likes, or maybe you like to be creative. You have some artistic talent. How about getting together with the kids and creating a coupon book? Things that she would like. You know what I mean? That back rub we talked about, or a night off from cooking, or something like that. That sounds like a good idea. Make it pretty artistic as much as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Or maybe if you've got the talent, write her a song. If you're not musical, then just a poem will do. I think that would be very, very touching. In fact, if my wife's not listening to this, I might do that myself, because I used to have a little bit of skill when it came to writing poems and songs. Haven't done it in years. I think that she would really like that. Coming from the heart, a poem or a song, that would make a wonderful Mother's Day gift. Or grab the kids and make a plan to make breakfast for her. Not just you. Just It doesn't have to even be breakfast in bed, but just do the work, right? And have them pick some flowers and bring them in and present them to her and have a nice breakfast together. Or maybe the kids like making crafts and you want to do something like a painting or making a piece of jewelry. Just remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's the thought that counts. And she just may be thrilled with that. Another idea is to do something. I never thought of this, Bruce, but I think it's kind of a neat idea. Get the kids together and make a handprint tree. Well, what's a handprint tree? Paint their hands. You know how you can do the outline thing of the hand and then paint that on a piece of fabric and then plant it in the ground with a small tree. That to me, that's a neat idea, and Mom may really like that. So those are some different ideas. I'm sure if you give it some thought, you can come up with your own that would really make this Mother's Day special.
Yeah, and what I've always found out is a lot of cases the expectation always exceeds the actual event, right? I mean, if you can help her understand that these are some things that she likes to do, and pull those coupons out. I mean, even though those are in the future, she'll continually remember that as you go through on what you did for Mother's Day. So, well, that's good. Those are good ideas. Any closing remarks before we finish today?
Well, again, I think that when God made motherhood, it was one of his most magnificent creations. I mean, think about it. Other than the animals, the human mother, I think by far, is the most beautiful thing on earth. There's nothing in heaven like a mother, but God chose motherhood as a special gift for the human race. Mothers are, they're irreplaceable. I mean, not just because of the procreation aspect of it, but because, it's a mother who can provide such a foundation for children, a loving home where they feel protected and comforted. There's nothing like a mother's love, the nurturing that a mother gives. Now, there is such a thing as fatherly nurture as well, but children need both. They need that mother's love as they need the father's loving nurture. It's just a beautiful thing, like nothing else that I know of, a mother's love. And it's only appropriate that once a year that we set aside a day to celebrate mom, to make her feel special. Every day ought to be Mother's Day, but there ought to be at least one official one, and we have that. So I want to encourage all of you fathers, all of you men, to pay special attention to what you can do. Make some plans to make this Mother's Day 2024 the best one you've ever put on for your mother, for the mother of your children, and for other special women in your life. They're worth it. You won't regret it. Just to see the smiles and all of that. Take some pictures, because you'll make some memories that you'll want to cherish for the many years to come. She may not may not be a fan of fancy restaurants and spa treatments and things like that. But if you will do what she enjoys, then that's the most important thing. And you'll make a memory that will last you for the rest of your life.
And it will definitely pay you and the kids dividends in the future. So just always showing that appreciation. So, all right, well, that's all the time we have for today. Don't hesitate to read this week's Fathering Strong blog for more information on this topic, and we'll continue with the sort of discussion of moms as we move forward in May. So take a look for the rest of the blog post.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us today on the Fathering Strong podcast. We appreciate it. And if you want more helpful content, especially for dads, subscribe to our Fathering Strong weekly blogs at urbanlight.org. urbanlight.org.
Well, next week, we're going to discuss the importance of maintaining a good rhythm of work, family, and personal time. So please join us for keeping your balance on next week's edition of the Fathering Strong podcast.
And a final thought, the Word of God tells us in Proverbs 31, charm is deceitful and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring praise at the city gate. Happy Mother's Day to all the special mothers in your life, and may the Lord bless you as you give your child what no one else on earth can, your fully developed father love. That's Fathering Strong.
The Fathering Strong podcast is a production of Urban Light Ministries with technical assistance from the Momentum Group, and Harold Rayford provides the theme music. So thanks for listening.
Fathering Strong is powered by Urban Light Ministries, a not-for-profit organization serving the needs of families and children for nearly 30 years. Your support helps us continue turning the hearts of fathers to their children. while meeting some of the immediate critical needs of struggling families with small children. Contributions of all sizes are welcomed at www.urbanlight.org.